Big g'day and welcome to another massive edition of RDFNL TV. Thanks to our friends at On-Time Delivery Solutions. My name's Yeendy. I'm joined by Tara Murray from the Star Weekly, and we're looking ahead to how all the excitement is going on at the tank at Rupertswood. Look, it's plenty to get excited about if you're a Rupertswood fan, because they are a senior football club and an A-grade netball side looking for redemption in 2019.
It is probably both of those sides didn't finish the season they would have liked to. You've had both finished top two.
Yep.
Both didn't make grand finals.
Yep.
Look, you say that at the same time, they did come away with still 4 premierships. You had your under-18 football and you had your 19C and B-grade netball. So they overall as a club, they're probably still the most successful club, but they haven't been able to taste success at that top level. And that's sort of what I think drives this club. They want that. Obviously, football went out. Injuries, they had nightmare run with injuries to the back half of the season, but that's no excuse. Look, probably had a little bit of impact. I saw their first final against Riddle. It had a little bit of impact there, but at the same time, they just weren't good enough when they needed to be.
I can recall having this conversation probably 12 months ago, and we're basically highlighting the same things, is that their senior side and at football and netball level probably just sort of didn't perform that we were sort of hoping for, while the other grades certainly did their bit.
And you look at the A-grade side missed players come finals. You had Claire Johnson miss both matches due to VNL commitments. And you also, Prue Stanley missed the first final as well. So they're 2 keys there. But in the end, they weren't able to stand up. So, and that's always been the question mark on Rupertswood. Can they stand up at the right time of the season? They seem to have the right pieces, but it's about taking that next step.
Senior footy, we have Nick Ash going around again as coach, and you only improve on your first year. I have no doubt that Ashy, who is one of the most experienced leaders in the competition for all as a captain, I think from an RDFNL perspective, looking back at Ashy's history, he was involved with Riddle for a number of years, who built a really good culture on good coaches and good captains. I think he's had a perfect pedigree that sort of shaped him up. First year, yep, that's done and dusted. Now he's ready to launch for the second year.
It is, and obviously he stepped into a side that had come off a grand final as well and had kept most of those players and added a few more. So look, for them, obviously it's about building on what they did. They're disappointed with they showed some really good signs. I know they beat Diggers Rest earlier in the season, and I think they were missing 4 or 5 of their best players and still came out on top. So they showed when they could play some really good football, they could beat anyone on their day. So look, for them, by the sounds of it, they've kept most of their list together. They are going to continue to focus on blood in the 19s, which we saw they did. I probably had 10 or 11 come through into the senior side. We talk about that Riddle's done that for a while, so did Rupertswood. Jake Susson's probably one who ended up playing in the finals and was one of their stars and kicked a few goals when he needed to. So he's one of the young players that we sort of have brought through. They have brought through. There's a couple of others as well. This stage, it looks like they've lost Dylan Featon, who I think played 18 games. He's going across the Sunbury Lions. That's the only out on clearances at this point. So it looks like they've kept most of them. They'll bring the young guys through, and they've added a few. I have heard they have added Matt Knight, who comes across from the EDFL. He did play for East Keilor in Division 1 this year, but he was best on ground in a Premier Division grand final a few years ago. So I have heard that, and a few pictures on Facebook show he was at their first training session as well. So I think they've added a couple of others as well. But they've got that core group there. It's just about getting the formula right.
Exactly. They've had that list that has been so strong for so long, just their ability to bring through younger players through the juniors. And I mean, if we got a nickel every time we build up their juniors, we'd be pretty rich by now. But there's under 19 and a half teams coming off a fantastic premiership win, and it's looking really positive for them going forward.
Well, the grand final the year before that, and I think they've won 3-4.
Well, they haven't missed a grand final since they've been in the RDFNL at that age group, which is phenomenal.
And they've probably lost less than 10 matches across that whole entire time. So that tells you about their junior program and the players they've got coming through. That you've got so many of them have come through into the senior ones. Those guys who were in 17s, 18s, 19s, with the age groups changing, now they're in that top level, and you see a lot of them coming through, and a lot of them are the core players of that team.
I guess, like every question, it's just a matter of, as good as that age group has been, they're filtering through. When do we sort of see that success at senior level? Will we eventually see, maybe in a couple of years' time, seeing the juniors that are coming through that have been winning premierships to actually form the nucleus of a Rupertswood powerhouse side that will win premierships for years to come?
Well, this is a question we've been asking for 2 or 3 years.
We'll be pretty rich if we every time we've asked that question. And look, I think the club is aware of that as well, and they identify that is a key thing. But I mean, I think all clubs in that position as well, aren't they? Where they've got a lot of good young players coming through. It's just a matter of what sort of other players you can bring into the fold that might be able to bring their own touch to it.
Would you probably say Riddle's one like that? They've lost 2 grand finals in 3 years and they've been around the mix the last one, so they're probably another one the same. They go, how do we take that next step?
Yeah, absolutely spot on. The netball side of things, it has been quiet, but it's not unusual, is it?
I was going to say, that's normal for Rupertswood at this time of the year. I know they have advertised for a netball coordinator.
Yep.
So that's about all that's come out of the netball side at this point, and I'm yet to get in touch with them to see what's going on. But yeah, they're normally pretty quiet at this one, and they're one that you'll hear a little bit more of in the new year.
We still expect them to contest for finals again at A grade level, but also expect them, their B grade side to bring up a milestone in 2019, which will break all records. I think it might be round 6 or 7 or something like that effect, that they'll all going well. They'll win their 100th game since they started in the competition.
I was going to say, and you look at that, you've got 19 side that's yet to lose it.
Yep.
So they have won every.
I think that might be the one I was thinking of, actually.
Well, I was going to say they've won every 19 premiership.
Yep.
Have not lost a match. Their B grade hasn't lost many as well, and they both have won 5 straight flags, I think it is.
Yep.
And their C grade side's won 3 straight flags. So you look across that, they've had massive achievements across that netball program, and like the football, a number of those young girls have come through into that senior side. Look, some of those girls who did play A grade, who have been playing A grade, were in the first under-19 side. I know Katona, who was in the first under-15 side, played in the under-15 side this year, so she's come back. Sorry, the under-19 side, she was able to come back. That's how young they've been playing, some of these girls, that they were able to play more than one flag.
It is absolutely phenomenal. A very exciting time over at the Tank. Tara, thanks so much for joining us. We hope that provides a little bit of an insight to our current knowledge on how the Sharks are shaping up ahead of the 2019 preparation, and we look forward to seeing what other information comes forward in the future.